All right, let's get in the time capsule and go back to 1986. This TV guide is from February of 86. Just to give a little context, so back during this time, it was mainly broadcast TV. There was cable, but most households probably just had broadcast. I'd say most households might have gotten 7, 8 channels, maybe 9 channels. So for that reason, the stuff we're looking at here, it had more of a culturally binding sort of atmosphere, shows that lots and lots of people could share, understand, talk about. Let's get into this one. This is February 8th. Some cover about romance. Look at that great Rambo ad. So I've said it before, but this is why we go through these great ads like this, things that kind of bring the context back. Oldsmobile ad. Microwave pizza, doesn't that look appetizing? Here's that cover story. I guess they're trying to push the romance angle, which obviously appealed to a lot of viewers. Look how cool this guy is. He's on a safari, smoking his filterless cigarettes. I guess these have filters. Yeah, they have these. Okay, looks like this might be a PBS special. Maybe we'll see more about this in the in this TV guide. Huh, look at this great Virginia Slims ad. 2-pager. She's so cool. She's got her smoke in her hand. You can kind of barely see it. Rupert Murdoch. Oh boy. We know how that turned out. Yeah, this is another great snapshot into the time that we're talking about. These kind of minivan things, this was kind of the beginning of the minivan. So in the 70s you had vans, vans, which were really cool. People had like shag carpet and stuff in them. Then in the 80s they brought in these ugly things, and of course people bought them up. And of course with the space shuttle, it's just a great snapshot of the time. Thankfully my family never owned a minivan. He's cool, he's smoking cools, he's got his motorcycle. Sometimes these articles are fun. Spencer for Hire, good show. Might see more ads on that. Looks like, yeah, Shirley MacLaine. Mike Hammer. Night Court. Yeah, did you know they made a Fast Times TV show? This guy was like Spicoli or something. I mean, that bombed. If you don't have Phoebe Cates in red bikini, nobody's watching that. Carl Weathers, great dude. He's got his own series. Oh, yeah. Fortune Dane. Here's one for you all to look up. I give you gems with every one of these. I don't linger too much on the soaps. Sometimes I recognize some of the actresses. Back when they wore short shorts to play basketball. Didn't they at one point find that this Kraft Parmesan literally had like sawdust in it? Alright, this is fun. I skipped past one of these before, but I've talked about one of these in another episode. So video cassettes were coming in and they would have these top tape sales. So these might have been different than the rentals. For example, Pinocchio, people might have been more likely to buy one of the Disney ones than to rent it. But this is still interesting, I think. So we got Beverly Hills Cop, the original. Jane Fonda's workout was huge. White Christmas, Best of John Belushi. I believe that would have been Saturday Night Live. Wizard of Oz, another Jane Fonda's workout. A lot of classics. How many cigarette ads are we up to already? Yeah, this TV guide's from the Charlotte, North Carolina region. I've looked at one or two others from North Carolina, and they don't tend to put the yokel sports newscasters in there like I've seen in some other markets. So you catch Blade Runner on regular TV with all kinds of commercials and edited. Same with Officer and a Gentleman. So again, this was February, so we probably know college basketball's going on. Football might have been Super Bowl time. I don't know. What's going on cable? So these are the pay channels. They have a quick guide in these. If you haven't seen my other videos, they have a quick guide in the front of each one of these, starting around the 80s, that has the pay channels and the movies they're showing this week. So we got The Breakfast Club. We know we all watched that over and over and over again if we were kids in the 80s. Buckaroo Banzai's a beloved movie. I haven't rewatched that. Here we go. Greystoke, if you don't know about that and you're a Tarzan fan, come on, that's a definitive Tarzan movie. And watching it now, it's kind of crazy because they had a kid running around in the jungle. It's pretty gnarly. Muppets Take Manhattan was definitely huge at this time. I don't think I ever saw it. I was just slightly too old at that point. Yeah, it's the Charlotte edition. Important to understand if you haven't seen my other videos. These guides were regional, so it didn't just, this wasn't just printed out for Charlotte. It's, you know, notice Durham, Raleigh. So you would get this same TV guide in different markets, and therefore you would have different channels listed. And for that reason, it sometimes looks like there's a lot more channels than there were. There weren't that many channels. This might have been Durham, this might have been Raleigh. So there's really not as many channels as it might appear when you're looking at the hour-by-hour listings. All right, 1986, early 86, what was on Saturday mornings? Alvin and the Chipmunks. Mr. T had his own cartoon. Spider-Man, I don't know if that was the Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends or not. If you're a Spidey fan like me, you know there's a difference. Snorks was one of my favorites. Don't ask me why. It's kind of a wacky show in hindsight. I love the Gummy Bears cartoon. It has nothing to do with the candy. It's like a Walt Disney thing that was out in the 80s. Muppet Babies. Ewoks cartoon. I never watched that, but I definitely remember ads for it. And they had the Droids Adventure. So Star Wars was pretty much over with. So in 86, those were your little hits of Star Wars. But, you know, we wanted the real thing. We didn't want an Ewoks cartoon. Great ad for Debbie Reynolds movie. Again, if you haven't seen my videos, something I do not remember until I started looking through these, they would have full rosters of some sports. So here we've got the full North Carolina State roster and Louisville roster printed up in the TV guide with their heights. I definitely remember Vinny Del Negro. Shackelford rings a bell. Buck Rogers reruns coming on at noon. If you remember the late 70s, you remember Buck Rogers. Just seeing if they have like American Bandstand or Soul Train and who might have been on that week. In the 80s, American Bandstand, Restless Heart and Jasper Isley perform. Billy Ocean. Yeah, there's Spidey and his amazing friends. I love that in the 80s. Dance Fever. They don't tell who's on it though. Looks like we got some college basketball going on in February in 86. Alright, so this will be the Saturday evening lineup in 86. Airwolf followed by Blade Runner, that'd be pretty killer. Give Me a Break, Facts of Life, Golden Girls, 227, Hunter. That's strong. Red Fox, I guess he had another show in 86. Be interesting to look that up. And a 2-hour Love Boat in 1986. I wonder if there'll be an ad for that. That's another fun thing about these, is we'll might see some ads that give us a little more context. Because I would think that would have to be a special. I'm pretty sure Love Boat was canceled by then. Star Search. Ed McMahon making money every which way he can. Yeah, look at this great ad for Give Me a Break. Nell's flipping out over Grandpa, stepping out with a girl half his age. Man, in Hollywood, that's normal. What are you talking about? Yeah, Solid Gold. Look at this. Solid Gold. How great is this? John Denver, Billy Ocean, Michael McDonald. Boom. Problem with these TV guides, as far as how we used them back then, you wouldn't flip through this and look at every little thing. So you may not even see this and know that you're about to miss out on John Denver. You'd usually just open it up, maybe look at what's coming on that night, or if you happen to be in one night, you might flip through it. But I don't want to mislead people. The way we're going through it kind of page by page is not really how people used it back then. Yeah, here's that Red Fox show. It looks fun. Benson was a great show. Let's see who's on Dance Fever. Andre Crouch. Zaza Gabor. Okay. Wow, that's a great ad for a Blade Runner movie. Yeah, Rutger Hauer does a great performance in that movie if you haven't seen it. Yeah, I don't know what's going on here. Friday the 13th. Maybe that was the TV series? Oh, maybe that was the original movie. But with commercials, I mean, what's the point? Yeah, here we go. 2-hour special. That's why these are great. These are great snapshots, folks. Who remembers this? I certainly don't. 2-hour, they go to Egypt. Got the cast on there. Looks like Julie's not on there. And they got that guy, what's his name? Just seeing who else might be guest starring. Not any huge names, except Catherine Oxenberg. Farm Aid. It's an interesting history behind that. It was huge in the 80s. But, I mean, it's putting a Band-Aid on a problem, right? Like, we still have the same problems. But let me not go into that. Look here, we got a Breakfast Club ad. Or if this was like when it first premiered or something. Yeah, everybody from the 80s remembers that movie. Saturday night. Ron Reagan is the guest host of Saturday Night Live. That's that Ronald Reagan's son. For some reason, he was big in the 80s. His son was. So if you're living in the Carolinas, you got Mike Krzyzewski basketball coming on Sunday morning. And a lot of you that aren't from you in the North Carolina area, you're probably like, who is that? Yeah, here's another roster of college teams. It's pretty funny to me. And it's not just college basketball. They'll have like full rosters of like NFL teams and stuff. Just a funny touch because, like, I don't know. Why would you need another roster? Another one. Oh, NBA All-Star games going on. This guy was huge in the 80s. What was his name? Scott Hamilton, yeah. He's got his unitard on. Let's check out this NBA basketball lineup because, you know, the All-Stars in the 80s was just about peak NBA for all time. We got Moses Malone, Chocolate Thunder, Pat Ewing, Irving probably would have been Dr. J, Maurice Cheeks, McHale, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, Clyde the Glide Drexler, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Ralph Sampson. You're getting your money's worth if you tune in. Sunday evening, let's see what's on. Murder, She Wrote, and a lot of movies. It's interesting. I don't remember Sunday evening being movie night, but maybe just didn't watch. Who knows? Yeah, Under Siege is coming on TV. That's pretty much it. You got Murder, She Wrote or a bunch of movies. But again, we might see some ads that call out some interesting things. Lifestyles of Rich and Famous. That was a big show. I think the 80s kind of was the beginning of celebrating excess. You had the yuppies, you had the Wall Street guys. So this was kind of a sign of the times of celebrating rich people. Punky, Brewster, how great is that ad? I watched a few episodes of Punky. It was a fun show. Most of the shows back then had a lot of heart. This Disney movie looks funny. I kind of remember this. Yeah, Art Carney. Can't imagine I watched it, but maybe there was nothing else on. Wow, check out this. Oh, so this isn't the Seagal movie. This is just another movie by the same name. So this is like a made-for-TV movie with nobody in particular except for Paul Winfield. He was great. Who remembers Star Trek The Next Generation, Darmok? Paul Winfield was inside the suit. If you don't, you got to go look that episode up. Days of Our Lives. Huh. Check this out. I do not remember this. Harem. Young American Kidnapped. Actually, I might remember that. Because I remember that plot. Let's see who was in it. Art Malik, Sarah Miles, Yaphet Kotto, Nancy Travis, Omar Sharif, Eva Gardner. I don't know if I watched that or not. Check out Lindsay with the short haircut. How 80s is that? We remember the Bionic Woman. We loved her. She could hear everything with her bionic ear. This looks like maybe another movie starring Lindsay Wagner. Pretty serious topic. They did tackle a lot of topics in the 80s. They tried to be somewhat serious about it. Some more soap ads. They're definitely pushing those. And Under Siege is interesting. Terrorists strike Americans at home. Wonder if it's like Russians or something. Another soap ad. No yokel newscaster ads, like I said. So if you're a yokel newscaster aficionado, North Carolina did not promote them for whatever reason. Here we go. We haven't talked about these yet because I haven't seen them in any TV guides. Challenge of the GoBots. Come on, folks. Come on. You got your nickel and dime Transformers, the GoBots. I loved them as a kid. I like the Transformer toys, but I enjoyed this cartoon. And then you got Voltron. How can you decide between those two? So this would be Monday morning before school. Finally saw some GoBots. That was definitely the right time, like 86, 85, 87, somewhere around there. I've always talked about my love for Inspector Gadget, one of the best ever cartoons. Here we go. Here's some yokel newscasters, I think. Doesn't say their names. So if you live in Charlotte, maybe you recognize these yokel folks here. That's a great ad. Jeopardy, look how young Alex was. Pat, Mork and Mindy. So yeah, those have been during the day, like reruns. That's nice that they give you a plot of the whole week's plots. So Monday, Wednesday, Hot Gossip and Cool Friends. She-Ra, Princess of Power. Just checking the afternoon stuff when kids are getting home from school. We got Thundercats. Transor Z. I wonder if that was an anime. She-Ra Mask. That's the other one. Okay. So those are the two that I had not spotted until this TV guide. GoBots and Mask was kind of the G.I. Joe ripoff, if you remember. They had these weird vehicles that sort of transformed, but it was more like a G.I. Joe type deal. And again, I was a huge G.I. Joe fan, so I kind of watched some Mask episodes just because it was very similar. So there we go. We got Mask, we got GoBots, we got Voltron. Now we're smack dab in the 80s. So Monday night, CBS has got Scarecrow and Mrs. King, Kate and Allie, Newhart, Cagney and Lacey. That's a great lineup. It's like NBC's doing the bloopers and practical jokes. Those were kind of fun to watch. Again, a lot of movies. I don't know. I would think in February they'd be all first-run shows every night, but lots of movies going on. So the only thing on the other channel was Hardcastle McCormick and then some movie. Oh, that harem movie. It's like it was a 2-night deal. Transor Z. Now I'm wondering what that is. Leave a comment and tell me. Great ad for Officer and a Gentleman. Love that movie. Got some great lines in it. Got some lines from the drill sergeant that you can't repeat on in a mixed company. Look at that. That's a fun ad. It doesn't look like Natalie Wood, but that's definitely Steve McQueen. Here's some more yokels. They got Raquel Welch coming on though. Here's that Huck Finn thing we saw earlier. So it is looks like maybe a 2-part or some 4-part adaptation. Maybe that's coming on PBS, American Playhouse. I don't remember for sure. Yeah, look at these ads. This is what brings this stuff to life. Look at this Scarecrow and Mrs. King ad. That's fun. Kate Jackson from Charlie's Angels, if you don't remember those. If you don't remember Scarecrow and Mrs. King. Rambo again. Is Hollywood trigger happy? Of course it is. What kind of question is that? Look at these ads. Okay. Yeah, it's a great ad. Just for the TV bloopers. I guess they got some Cheers bloopers, but that's a great original drawing they did for that. And then this looks pretty strange. Warren Beatty. That does not look like Warren Beatty. Some more great ads telling us what's going on. Kate and Allie. Newhart. Never got Newhart, but he was huge. Look at this. So many great ads in this thing. There's Omar Sharif, if you don't know. Yeah, what a great film. I can watch that over and over again. Cagney and Lacey. Lacey gives birth. Wow, I do not remember that. It was a good show. They tackled some interesting topics. You know, the great police drama. Fun show. Remember when shows were fun? Back then they were, believe it or not. Talking in other episodes of mine, back then TV would basically go off the air. So it looks like there's a lot of channels, but it's really mostly cable and maybe like one channel still on the air, showing some outer limits. So you get fuzz on your TV from like 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. So if you were on the night shift or something, I don't know what you'd watch. I guess you'd have to get cable. I don't linger on these too much, because especially these are pretty misleading, so I don't linger on these ads a lot. Here we go. So I misspoke. Here's another yokel guy. Paul Delgado. He's the guy on Channel 12. You can count on Paul. All right, Tuesday night. I'm seeing some good stuff already. Interesting. Bugs Bunny and Peanuts. I wonder what that would be. Maybe we'll see some ads in February. I don't know what that would be. Lots of movies again. A-Team, Riptide, Remington Steele. If you were a young boy in the 80s, that was all you needed right there. Those three shows were great. I've talked about Riptide before. If you're not familiar with that, check it out. At least look up like the intros of some of these shows. But see, again, going up against that, you got Who's the Boss and Growing Pains. That's a tough decision. It's a tough decision right there. You might have to make a family vote for that. And then Moonlighting and Spencer for Hire. That's a great lineup. So they're swinging for the fences on Tuesday night. Those two channels are. $3 off, $9.99 for 20 color portraits at Kmart. Did you know you used to dress the family up? Drive down to Kmart and get your family portrait taken? Hey man, that's how we did it. Michael Landon. Great guy. Been part of two really good shows in Little House and Highway to Heaven. Shows that had substance to them, and that had a lot to do with Michael Landon. Some more yokels. So like I said, I totally misspoke on the non-yokel North Carolina people, newscasters. Oh, this looks fun. Unfortunately I don't have this TV guide, but they're talking about next week they got the best children's shows on TV. That would be a fun one to go through, especially in '86. You still had Mr. Rogers on the air and stuff. Yeah, so here we go. We got some great ads. How 80s is this, folks? Come on, we all remember this episode. Boy George. And Boy George was a decent actor, and he had charisma. So when he came on these shows, he really brought something. And it's crazy that I remember that, but I've seen that episode recently, or at least parts of it, and I was like, you know, he really does have a on-camera charisma. We all remember and love Who's the Boss. I didn't watch Moonlighting, but I have family members who loved it, and two great actors. Great dynamic between them on that show. So this might be one of those movies that was coming on Tuesday night. That guy looks familiar. Vital Signs. Both surgeons, both afraid of the truth till one woman made them face it. Elvis is in a movie called Kissing Cousins. Any kissing cousins out there? There's that Riptide show I talked about. We loved Remington Steele. She was the boss. He was the pretty boy. The Riptide, I haven't gone back and watched those, but I think these guys would give each other a hard time. They had sort of different personalities, but they kept it light, they kept it jokey. But that's what gave it a little extra something. And not just a typical, action cop type thing. This is a funny ad for the after school special. Doesn't say who's in it though. It'd be fun to know who was in this. Maybe we can try to spot it tomorrow at 4. Maybe we'll try to look at that. Wednesday at 4. A lot of times I forget by the time I get to it. We've kind of already seen the daytime, weekday stuff. We spotted Mask. We spotted Challenge of the GoBots. So we spotted all the 80s staples at this point. Alright, let's see. Wednesday evening. Oh, wait a minute. Let's see if we can spot that. See, I already forgot that after school special real quick, just to see if anybody's in it that we know. 4 o'clock. Can a guy say no? Steve Anton, Heather Langenkamp, Bo Bridges, I guess, is the dad or something. All right. Wednesday night. These kind of ring a bell. Mary and Foley Square. I think Mary Tyler Moore might have been the Mary. I don't know about Foley Square. Crazy Like a Fox definitely rings a bell. And we all remember Equalizer. There's Highway to Heaven. Great show with a lot of heart. Black's Magic. I don't remember that. Saint Elsewhere. That's one of those I've talked about before. MacGyver. Yeah, Wednesday night you got all kinds of stuff to choose from. Dynasty and Hotel. I believe Hotel was another nighttime soap. But again, we might see some great ads and see. Check out Footloose. Quicksilver. That was a pretty awful movie. You're probably wondering, why does this guy remember Quicksilver? I don't know why. Yeah, there's Mary Tyler Moore. Foley Square. It definitely rings a bell. I don't recognize her, though. At least not from that picture. Great ads for MacGyver and Highway to Heaven. It's like Ed Asner's co-starring this week. Yeah, there's that Crazy Like a Fox show. I do remember that. Dynasty's got a full page ad. Foley Square. Just seeing who's on that. No names that jump out. Oh, this guy was on Mark Harmon. I wonder if he was a regular on Saint Elsewhere, because he was definitely the heartthrob of the 80s. Here's that Black's Magic. 2 old dudes. The dude from MASH. Is that the Barney Miller guy? Yeah, there's Hotel. How cool do they look? How posh do they look, man? Is that Connie Selica? If it is, I gotta check this out. Let me see. Hotel. Dee Wallace is on there. That's E.T.'s mom, I think. Yeah, Connie Selica. That was as good as it gets. She's on Greatest American Hero. I mean, if you're a young guy in the 80s, come on. T.J. Hooker coming on at midnight. Or if you're in different markets, coming on 11:30. So again, that's why I say not as many channels as it looks here, because this guide serves multiple markets. They're not printing these up for every single city and town in the country. All right, Thursday evening. You know, in the 80s, Thursdays was almost peak television. Magnum, Simon and Simon. Or if you had family, you got Cosby Show. Family Ties looked like a special 1-hour episode. Cheers, Hill Street Blues. And then you got Ripley's Believe It or Not, which is a fun show, really fun show. Yeah, lots of good stuff on. And it looks like on one channel you can watch Maryland and North Carolina State college basketball. ACC was pretty peak back then in the 80s before they destroyed all the conferences with all these realignments and stuff. Yeah, way more Yokel, so I was totally got proven wrong because there's a million Yokel newscasters in this episode, this copy of TV Guide. Just checking to see. The Colbys. Interesting. Family Ties. In this, yeah, let's check out this 60-minute Family Ties. Expanded show featuring clips. Those are those clip shows where they don't have to film a new episode. So it's an hour-long clip show. Hey, you gotta give them a break, man. They pump these shows out on a weekly basis. Hill Street. David Milch, great writer. Also did NYPD Blue. All right, Friday night. Look at this. So this would be 4:30 on a weekday. G.I. Joe, Transformers, She-Ra, Mask. Well, Mask is on WGN, but still. How great is that? So this was the 80s version of the Twilight Zone, which I think was solid. A lot of people say, well, it sucks compared to the original. Well, the original was incredible, but I think the 80s one was solid. So that's coming on Friday nights, and then Dallas and Falcon Crest. But Knight Rider, Miami Vice, come on, right? Disney's DTV Valentine. Wonder if there'll be an ad for that. Webster, Mr. Belvedere were both fun shows. Some show called Frightenstein. Wonder if that would be like a North Carolina thing or a national thing. Frightenstein. Okay, so they got a million of these yokels in this thing. Local legends. Yeah, here we go. See, this is why this is great. You got ads. It gives you some context. Jacqueline Bisset. Let's see what this is. Classic moments. So they're cutting some cartoons to like rock and roll music. So they got music by Elvis, Lionel Richie, Huey Lewis, The Eurythmics, Whitney, Elton John, and The Contours. That would probably be pretty fun, I guess. Webster's in Love. Look at that ad. Check out wrestling. Match between Ric Flair and Barry Windham from Orlando, Florida. The Road Warriors. Come on. 80s was... Why was everything so great in the 80s? I mean, wrestling was peak. Cartoons were peak. Looks like the only ad for the nighttime stuff. I was hoping for a couple more. There's always a little bit of this back matter too to look at. That's a great ad for Return of the Jedi. Another cigarette ad. Skip the page. Yeah, the Golden Girls is a huge show. Of course, has continued to be very popular in reruns. Wow, there's a snapshot of the 80s for you. See, if you clicked off the video at the end of the Friday night, you missed this Cabbage Patch Kids. If you don't remember Cabbage Patch Kids, here's a good snapshot. Came in various different sizes and stuff. I don't know what the appeal was. You know, it was basically a doll, but it just became huge for a couple years. So there they were. How much were they? Oh, it doesn't say. It just says save $2. So I don't know what the prices of those things would have been. When terrorists attack America. Got a million cigarette ads and now they're telling you to quit. Giving us mixed messages here. See, there you go. We'll have him to quit. Now they're telling you to smoke some 120s. Lauren Green pushing some Alpo. It was like the only dog food back then. I mean, there was a couple. There was like Cow Can or something, but it's not like now. Amazing Stories. That was a great show. If anybody remembers that. Spielberg produced it. For some reason, it's kind of been lost to time. I don't know why, because it was a great show. It probably ran a couple seasons. It was like an hour long. They had like adventures and sort of fantasy things going on. Similar to kind of a Twilight Zone light, but really fun. And for some reason, it just is gone. Like, I don't even know if it ever got any DVD collections or anything. And one more cigarette ad to close it out. Thanks again, folks. See you next time.